Joshua 24. There are many people in this world today have not made up their mind to serve the Lord. They may be going to church in some form, some shape, occasionally. But some even just go to church like 2 times a year, which is Easter and Christmas. Also, a lot just simply don't go to any church. Now the question is the decision to choose to serve the Lord. That's a big one. That's my topic for this video. You know, all of us have to come to that decision to serve the Lord, to follow Jesus or not. You can't hang in there. Either way, like that's what Joshua said to the Israelites after the Lord has done all these amazing things, sending out hornets to chase the enemy out. You know, hornets is like wasps, like it's stinging bees. I checked that out. That stinging all these people and just drove out the armies. You know, Israel never fought some of the battles. The enemy just retreated and Israel just took over the land. That's Joshua 24. Check it out. Okay, so, but it all begins with the word, verse 14. Now fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. You can't serve the Lord if you don't serve the Lord with faithfulness. This is the big one. Don't forget about serving God if you are not serving him faithfully. Now, I may be over demanding, sounds like the Lord's more gracious than that, right? We all go through, we may grow into faithfulness. That's fine. However, we need to know God is looking for faithfulness because God is faithful. You see, Psalm says, his faithfulness reaches the heavens. His steadfast love, faithfulness reaches the heavens. You know, his mercy is new every morning. You know, have you ever woken up one morning, God's mercy disappeared? No. His faithfulness. Have you ever woken up one day that there's no rain? Yeah, sometimes we have no rain. Sometimes we even have drought in some countries. But eventually they come. When they come, do you know where they come from? Okay, science says, okay, it's from the clouds, condensation. But go a step beyond that. What causes the clouds to rise? Oh, okay, because the vapor is light, it goes up. How do they form? Because it condenses. Guess who put all this sequence and operations together? You're not going to tell me that there is some brilliant designer, artificial intelligence, put them together. It ain't no happening. It's God. I won't argue on that front now, just mention that. But faithfulness. And then God say, verse 14, now fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. Now to serve the Lord, to choose to serve the Lord, you need to fear the Lord. Now how, fear is the primordial, the prime reason for you to serve the Lord. You love the Lord. And in this passage, Joshua is talking about fearing the Lord. Now, let's talk about this. That's verse 14. To understand now, fear the Lord, you must look at before the verses. What are the verses? Okay, let's see. All right, so let's see. The same chapter, verse 5. Okay, then I sent Moses and Aaron, I afflicted the Egyptians by what I did there, and I brought them out. When I brought your people out of Egypt, you came to the sea, and the Egyptians pursued them with the chariots and horsemen as far as the Red Sea. But they cried to the Lord for help, and he put darkness between you and the Egyptians. He brought the sea over them and covered them. You saw with your own eyes what it did to the Egyptians. Then you lived in the wilderness for a long time. Wow, this is astonishing. How many of you seen the movie Moses? Okay, the 10 Commandments. Somebody needs to redo that movie. But I saw it a few times. It's nothing like the real one, of course. But I did get a glimpse of even the graphic style, how much Hollywood can produce. This is like, you're talking about 3 million Jews walked across a sea, Red Sea. And before that, thousands of Egyptian chariots and horses after them. And these are poor women and men, children, mules, donkeys. They are on a massive migration. They are not on charter planes 747 or 737 or Airbus, They are on this, walking on foot in the desert, in the wilderness, 3 million. And here it goes, like thousands of Egyptians with horses and chariots and spears and arrows, trying to capture them. Because Pharaoh want to bring them back to be his slaves again. Because God hardened his heart, really. After all these mighty miracles, even his own son was killed, and he still hasn't given up. He hasn't learned. Guess what? When the Egyptian army were closing in, God put a darkness in between them so that Egypt never saw Israel. Israel never saw Egypt, even though they are close to one another. So amazing it is. This is how supernatural our God is. God can still work supernatural things in your life and my life. I believe it with all my heart. If you take out the supernatural out of the Bible, there is no more Bible. And that's exactly what the critical scholars, the liberal thinkers, the enlightened thinkers who enthrone science and rational reasoning on the throne above God, they're going to be doomed. They're going to pay for it. But, so when Joshua spoke to them, in verse 40, fear the Lord. He is referring to that as one of them. The darkness between the Egyptian army and them fleeing from Pharaoh. Pharaoh's chasing them with horses galloping and all this. Guess what? They couldn't get a step closer because the Lord put a darkness in between the two countries, two nations, literally. Egypt was after Israel in the desert. Okay? But when they hit the Red Sea, guess what? God opened up the Red Sea for 3 million Jews to walk across. And when the Egyptian army saw that, whoa, the Lord God opened the Red Sea for them. Now they are in the Red Sea. Let's go down. Let's get them right there. What an idiot, right? Haven't they crossed our mind? The God who did this will let them do this. And essentially, God enticed them to go to the Red Sea. As they're going through again, God caused confusion to come to Pharaoh's chariots, the horses, the carts, the chariots' wheels are falling apart and all this. And then they began to finally realize, which they already realized for a long time, but there's the final realization before it's over. The wheels are coming up. They couldn't move any further. They cried out, let's head back to Egypt. The Lord God is fighting for Israel against us. Now they realize. Guess what's a little bit too late, buddies? Israel, and they could never close the gap to touch any Israelites, any Jewish. The Jews just walked slowly, and these horses galloping could not close in the gap. The gap probably, I don't know, less than a mile, maybe half a mile or a quarter of a mile. It just couldn't close in. And after 3 million Jews, men and women, old men, old women, young men, old, young children, young men, all crossed over. Then God caused the Red Sea to close in on the thousands of chariots of Pharaoh. All of them were drowned. The next day, the bodies were found dead, the corpse on the beach. Now, that's what Joshua said. Now, fear the Lord. Fear the Lord. So what else? There's a lot of things, okay? God killed, destroyed Amorites, Perizzites for all these Israelites, Jewish, to occupy the land. They have to learn. Now, that's what Joshua means. Fear the Lord. You've seen everything the Lord has done. For you and I, you may not have seen the dramatic miracles in that sense. you can see all the gods you trust in, all the idols you put your faith in, trusting, they all collapse, turn to God.